Pioneer is a manufacturer of intelligent touchscreen systems. We specialize in efficient strategies that help clinicians use mobile devices at the point of care for clinician documentation. Some of the problems that we're seeing in LTPAC today, for sure, are communities who are trying to use the wrong tool for the job. Specifically, we see a lot of folks grabbing a consumer-grade device and trying to make it work at the point of care without realizing so many of the challenges in using that type of device. Specifically, keeping the device charged 24/7, round the clock, keeping it located, keeping it clean between room to room and not passing bacteria room to room. In addition, just because you have an app and a device doesn't mean you have great wireless infrastructure. And so a lot of these predictable failures show up after some of the wrong assumptions have been made. Everything in healthcare is outcomes-based. We have predictably successful outcome protocols for surgeries, for infection rates, for readmission, for reimbursement rates. We need to also think in terms of clinical documentation as being outcomes-based. So having devices and having a protocol and a process for keeping the battery charged 24/7 so that it's available for real-time documentation. Real-time documentation ultimately leads to a greater chance of having accurate data. Instead of leaving the documentation to the end of a run or batch documentation where you're liable to have inconsistencies or you're going to have errors that lead to challenges for reimbursement and challenges in patient care, the device and the availability of the device being powered 24/7 and available can really be helpful for real-time documentation. So the use specifically of hot swappable batteries, medical grade devices, types of charging systems that can be wireless so that you don't have to plug in the device and it's available at all times are critical specific steps that communities can take. Real-time documentation is so important because if you leave documentation towards the end of a run or the end of a shift and you do it in a batch, the likelihood of being able to recall all of the things that you have to document goes down tremendously. So if you travel, for example, and you have an expense report and you don't turn in your expense report and you try to remember what you had in terms of expenses months later, it would be very difficult to have accurate reimbursement. Today, when we're challenged with PDPM and we have to document accurately, the only way to do so is to do so real time, right at the site of the point of care. The only way to ensure that is that the device is available and running and working in the workflow at the time that you're looking to document. Some of the critical available technologies today that help communities, whether they be skilled or assisted living communities, document real time are the advent of hot swappable batteries. Hot swappable batteries can eliminate the need to ever be plugged in again. No more cords whatsoever. Secondly, devices that are medical grade with antimicrobial plastics can help reduce the existence of bacteria, but also can allow to be cleaned very, very frequently with bleach-based cleaners in between residents. And having wireless charging systems for tablets that don't require you to go and plug them in, but actually can be charged wirelessly throughout the workflow, really create an environment where you're totally mobile and being able to use the device in the workflow that you have in that environment. Pioneer has several critical initiatives for looking at effective mobile computing. Last year, we launched a program called AIM for Outcomes. AIM is an acronym. It stands for Application, Infrastructure, and Mobility, the three pillars of the electronic medical record implementation. And with that, we developed a terrific guide that's available on our website called the LTPAC Professionals Guide to Point of Care Device Selection and Project Planning. It helps really understand what's necessary to embrace the right devices. Secondly, predictably successful outcomes is a core of everything that we do, from device design to the strategy to the consulting behind it. And this year going forward, we're featuring a new marketing concept called No More Cords. We're really helping communities eliminate the need to go plug in and having bees nests of cords trying to plug all the devices in. but instead utilizing technology that's available to really be mobile 24/7.